everyone, this is Tammy. Thanks for joining me for another video today. Today I want to share with you a way to make some Father's Day cards using your Kiwi Lane templates. So I started with what I call just a card front, and I like to cut these so that they're about 1/4 inch shorter and narrower than a typical A2 card front. So here's an A2 card base, and I like to just do just a little bit smaller. So a typical A2 card is going to have a front on it that's 5.5 by 4.25. So that means I cut my card fronts down to 5.25 by 4. Okay, so I've got 3 of those that we're going to be working with today. And these are just some colors that coordinate with some scraps. If you watched my video using the My Guy paper kit to make a layout, some of my scraps are from that, and then some are just from my stash. So the accessories, the Kiwi Lane templates that I'm going to be featuring today are Tiny Accents, Tiny Explore, and then our Sincerely card border. Okay. And then I've got a few a la cartes, and I'll call those out as I use them as well. So this first one here, I wanted to feature the mountain a la carte. And I do like to design ahead of time, right? And I do this with cards, I do it with layouts, I lay my templates out first. I think I would make this strip a little bit taller, and that's why I've pushed the mountain up a little higher, and I can just kind of use this for reference. And then I wanted to use like the little pickup on here. I just thought that would be a fun little card. I've got 2 sons that are fathers now, and then I've got friends visiting for Father's Day, and I definitely had a need to come up with a few cards. So this will be fun. This one I went ahead and turned the other direction because I wanted to feature this pine a la carte on it, and it's a little bit taller. Now I only have 1 of these, but I'm actually planning my card to have a couple of trees in it. So I'm just going to kind of set that one in the middle. And then this Sincerely card border would go here. The newer sets of our borders actually have measurements along the bottom, which makes them a little bit easier to use for things like turning things sideways or for pocket scrapbooking. This one doesn't have that, but I can easily make that modification. Okay. And then this last one, I'm going to be using Sincerely 2B. So it's funny, it's actually the opposite of this, but I'm using it in a totally different way. So I'm going to use it here. And I love this Explore 5T, this gear here. I'm going to be using it down at the bottom. I'll separate those, kind of do an accent there. And then I'm going to use this gear from Accents, our Tiny Accent set on top. So those are what the card designs are going to look like. And I'm just going to start subbing out the paper and show you how these come together. Okay. So we'll start with this one. So when I cut this Sincerely 2A, I used some scraps from actually an old Close to My Heart kit to create a base there. And then I've got 2 different trees, and I've got a sentiment here. So this Happy Father's Day sentiment. So I would decide exactly how I want these, if I'm going to have it overlap. Definitely have all the choices in the world. I think I'm going to end up doing something kind of like that. And then I'll come back and pop some of that up, and we'll go through that in a minute. Okay. For this a la carte pickup, I had a lot of fun decorating that. So I just cut it out of a rust colored scrap paper, same thing I used for this pine. But I punched a couple of tires for it. I used brads to represent the wheels. I just did a little scrap of gray for the bumpers, and then some paper for the window. And then I cut a little door handle here, and I just put glossy accents in a few spots to make it stand out a little bit. I cut my strip out of some burlap just because I thought that was kind of fun. I can put my mountain here. Get my little pickup truck on the road. He's out adventuring. And then I figure I can easily just do a little quick stamp of Happy Father's Day on there. Okay. This last one, I used some scraps from that My Guy kit. So there's the Explore 5T. The Sincerely 2B. I just cut a little strip, and I need to show you a trick with this because I ignored my own advice about measurements. So if you'll notice, the stripe is a little bit short, but it's going to be going behind this gear. And so I'll do a little trim there and push that out. Alrighty. And then here's my card bases. So let's go ahead and put this one together first. Just going to do some quick taping. And although we like to think that people are going to keep our cards and things forever, I don't know if that happens. I keep things like that forever because I know the work that goes into them, and it means a lot to me when somebody gives me a handmade card. But when I'm putting these together, I definitely am acknowledging that I probably don't have to have them taped down for eternity. So went ahead and split that so I can have my little strip go all the way to the edge, even though I cut it a tiny bit short. And then this one, because it's going to be the last item I'm adding on that card, I am going to pop it up. And for that sentiment, I just used a Close to My Heart stamp that I had. This says Happy Father's Day. I'm featuring the same stamp on all of these cards. The only difference is the color of ink that I used. So this one I used a sapphire ink. And then this one I added a little border that I had around the Happy Father's Day. Okay, so this card front is done. All I need to do now is attach it to a base. And I don't know what kind of adhesive you all prefer. What I'm using is something called glue tape. And this is just a double-sided, it's plus glue tape. It's a double-sided tape that's got 72 feet in it. I get this super cheap on Amazon. So that's what I'm using. So card number 1, done. Let's scooch that one to the back and we'll get this one put together. Alrighty, and I'm going to have the mountain kind of centered on there. And this burlap, the backing, for some reason my tape doesn't always like to stick to, so that actually went better than I expected. I think we'll pop up this pickup with some pop dots. These ones are a foam dot that we actually sell in the shop. So you can find these on my website if you like the thickness of these. I really do. I use a lot of these little guys, but they work really well. And they pop things up without making them so thick that it interferes with getting it in an envelope or in a page protector if you're using it on a scrapbook, that kind of thing. So we'll just pop that little pickup up and get him stuck on there. Oh my gosh, so cute. I'm gonna do a quick stamp on that. So I'm just using an espresso ink. All right, I'm already on a foam back mat here. Okay. Just a quickie Happy Father's Day stamp. I'm going to let this one dry a minute before I flip it over to adhere the back. And then this last one has got this Sincerely 2A, and I just needed part of it to create a little hill for the background here. And I'm not going to push this down hard yet because I'm going to tuck this tree behind a bit. And then I want to pop this one up with a few foam dots. That's actually probably enough on there. And I just want to make sure that I'm leaving some space for this Happy Father's Day sentiment. So I think that that looks good. I can go ahead and adhere that sentiment and get that taped down. And I just need to attach it to my card base. So I always design on these little fronts. I don't mind that the card bases are white. I think it's really easy then to go ahead and journal inside and get your message put in, and you don't have that interference of a dark colored card base. Plus I can buy these kind of bases really cheap and in bulk, and that it makes it easy for me to make quick cards like this. So what I'm going to do with this last one is go ahead and get some adhesive on the back, and we'll adhere this last one to the card base. And voila, we've got 3 very quick cards featuring the Sincerely card border. I used 1 element from Tiny Explore. I used 1 element from Tiny Accents. I pulled in this pine a la carte, the pickup a la carte, and the mountain a la carte. And if you're interested in picking up any of those items, definitely look at the link below for my shop. I hope you had fun creating with me today, and that this gives you some ideas to put together some Father's Day cards for the special men in your life. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.